Going in 10. 3, 2, 1, go.
Message of the week this week is drink water, get outside, and prioritize sleep. Today I am joined by Garrett, Samantha, Trish, and Charlie. So if you hear Charlie over there, he's joining us today. As you can see, we are set for the occasion. If you're not watching the video, just pull it up for 5 seconds because it'll be funny. But we are going to start with just how you would brief this in a class. So let's start with you, Garrett.
Normally coaching on Thursdays, I'm usually covering the get outside portion, but just in general, talking about the three factors. The one key factor is these are three things that are very important to your health that are totally in your control, right? So you have complete control over how much water you're drinking, when you're going to bed, for the most part, and how much time you're spending outside, right? Those three things are. It's nice that you can do that, right? So drinking water is very important to you, as far as like your bodily functions and things like that go, and just like your general well-being. Sleep is very important. It's how you recover every day. Getting outside, it's beneficial to get some of that vitamin D in you from some fresh air, especially in the winter months and things like that. So I usually try to touch on those types of things for those. So
Great.
yeah.
Samantha?
With this message of the week, it's drink water, get outside, prioritize sleep. And usually I just say I want you to bring awareness to these things this week and be conscientious of how much of each of those you are getting and see where you have areas of opportunity. These are where they are, I don't want to say easy, but simple things that can really help help move the needle in your health and therefore your fitness. So try and emphasize those a little bit.
I think just adding on what these guys have already said, I feel like coming to a gym, we often talk about the fitness portion and the nutrition side of things. These are things that you're doing really outside of the gym to live a overall healthy lifestyle, right? We talk about CrossFit being a lifestyle, and I think that these are three things that kind of add into the life that you want to live as a healthy individual. So they're very simple things that again are in your control, and it's going to vary from person to person, but I do think that these three things, drink water, get outside, and get more sleep, can have just as much effect on people as their nutrition as well as their fitness and what they're doing inside the gym.
It's great. Okay, we're going to break these down piece by piece. So we are going to start with the drink water portion. Why is that important?
I'll start. One of the main things, if you look at like a physiological level, it's like our bodies are made up of, I think it's like 75-80% water, right? So it's very important element within your body to begin with. That helps with a lot of your body systems. So getting and keeping being replenished through that, especially because we live in, especially here in Salt Lake, in a very dry climate, it's very important to maintain good, adequate hydration, those types of things. It's different ways you can kind of take in that water, right? Main is just drinking water on its own. Other things like maybe drinking a little bit of coffee, some juice, those types of things, that could be another way to stay hydrated. But obviously, just drinking straight water is always really good. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that?
I would just say with water, it's hard to put a number of exactly of like what people should be drinking. And it's more of like you should try and drink more water than you are other substances. So whether you drink coffee or if you drink juice or sodas or alcohol or whatever that might be, I think having the goal of just drinking more water than some of those other things, you're just going to feel better in the long run. And I think instead of having, I think the traditional goal is half your body weight in ounces, like just start to drink more water and see how you feel. And kind of build a system or build a routine of drinking water throughout the day. Usually it's going to make you feel a little bit better, and just try and figure out what's going to work for you. Just because I feel better with 100 ounces of water doesn't necessarily mean Samantha's going to feel better. Maybe somebody who struggles with drinking water, it might actually make them not feel super good, and feel kind of sloshy or sluggish if they're having too much water. So I think everyone's going to have a little different water intake, but I would say overall you should aim to have more water than other beverages.
Yeah, I really like that because everybody's individual and there is such a thing as being overhydrated. Most of us are probably not hitting that, but just really listening to your body and making sure that you are I don't know, paying attention to like the things Trish said, like, are you feeling better? Are you feeling sluggish, etc. And it might be beneficial for a little bit to just track your water just to see where you're at and not hit any specific goal that is like out there in the world that isn't relevant to you, but just kind of see where you're at. And if it feels extremely low to you, like try increasing it and see how you feel then, right? Like kind of track it and gauge your energy levels, how you feel in the gym, etc., based off of that.
I love that. I think that's great. Anything else about why this is important? I would also like to touch on electrolytes and how that can play a part in our hydration and why we use those.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes with what I just said of there is such a thing as overhydrating. If you are just drinking a ton of water with nothing that like maybe you're not eating enough or you're not getting sodium, which you usually isn't an issue in our current food environment, but um you are just like draining your body of everything. So if you're not conscientious of how if you're just like chugging only water all day, that is going to drain that body of those vitamins and minerals that you're getting through your food or whatever else. So if you feel like you're constantly thirsty or you think you might be somebody that's like quote unquote overhydrating, it might be beneficial to add in some salt with that water to help your body maintain that water that you are consuming.
Yeah, I love that.
I would also, to me, it switches up my water enough that I drink more water. And so I think that if you're struggling to have water, it might be helpful to just add something to it to give it a little different flavor. So then you might be motivated to have something other than just water.
Mm.
So
I
it's
love
like
that.
more exciting.
Absolutely.
You can also get real nerdy into it in the type of water you're drinking, right? Like whether you're drinking spring water or distilled water. I grew up in a house where we only drank distilled water. Like that was the thing, right?
Mm.
Now it's like if you look at it a little bit, the science is like distilled water is not actually as great for you because it can actually like steal some minerals out of your body because of the I can't remember if it's like the alkalines in it or whatnot, but like spring water is supposed to be a little bit better for you. It's got a little bit more minerals, vitamins, those types of things in there for you. So you could get real nerdy into it if you really wanted to, those types of things. So
Mhm.
but for the basis, it's just like they were saying, start slow, maybe mix in a couple of salt packs or something like that. If you really like the plain water, it's like it's boring, it's not doing it for you. If it gets you to drink a little bit more, it's definitely more beneficial for you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing that I really liked that was said was starting slow because a lot of times it's like you have this target and you were drinking 28 ounces and now all of a sudden you're trying to drink 80 and you're peeing like every 20 minutes, right? And we don't want this to be something that's like disruptive of your life, right? So, like starting slow, okay, I'm hitting 28 ounces this week, I'm gonna go for 32. I'm gonna go and slowly increasing it and then seeing how you feel based off those small increases rather than going from 0 to 100, right? We don't want the water intake to disrupt your sleep or, disrupt your work environment or whatever that looks like because you have to go pee every 20 minutes or whatever that looks like. Finding a balance between that. Let's get into some tips and tricks that you guys do to help you drink more water.
I'll go. I usually like to start my day off with water. I feel like it's easier to have small amounts throughout the day versus like realizing it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't drank any water.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess like my rule of thumb is when I have a cup of coffee in the morning, like I have to have a full water bottle by a certain time. Or if you're a multiple cup drinker of coffee, like kind of earning that second cup of like I need to finish a full water bottle before I have a second cup of coffee. And I think that that's just kind of a rule that you could do also with alcohol. Like if you're drinking in the evening and you're planning on having multiple drinks, like have a order always order a drink or sorry, always order water with your drink and then finish your glass of water before you order a second one. And I think just like always having it nearby, you're more likely to drink those things if you have it versus if you never have a water bottle with you or if you never order water beforehand.
Absolutely.
I'd say figuring out the vessel and the way that you like to drink water. Like if I have an open cup of water, I will drink none of it. So I actually really struggle at restaurants to get water in because I hate drinking out of an open cup. I much prefer a straw. So I keep my strawed water bottle next to me at all times. Some people I know will only drink cold water, and some people will only drink room temperature water. I'm a room temperature water person, right? So it's like figure out like if you really hate drinking water, like figure out maybe why. Like, does it make you cold? Do you not like the taste, etc.? And then figure out ways that you might be able to adjust the water, right? If that's adding a element packet, do it. Like that'll help increase your water intake, right? Whatever that might be, to just lead you to success for it.
Love it.
I'd say I have some similar traits or activities as Trish does. Like I try to start my day with water. I try to drink at least maybe like half of this or like a smaller one, the full thing before I get my first cup of coffee. And like I stop drinking water in the mornings when or stop drinking coffee in the morning while I coach. So it allows your body to kind of wake up a little bit better. It's actually kind of better for your wake up if you don't take coffee right away in the morning. So I try to drink that in the morning and then I stop drinking coffee in the afternoons. So that I continue to try to force myself to drink water. And then having some container of water near you at all times is very important. A little bit harder when I'm being outside type deal to lug around something, especially when I'm skiing, but it's very similar activities. So I don't do as well as I should be, probably not as well as the ladies next to me and yourself included. I know you guys have your little water trackers in your bottle, so I'm surprised none of you talked about yet. So,
About that.
yeah. So yeah, my goal for this year is to drink more water. I kind of got shamed by a massage therapist a couple months ago. He was like, dude, you're not hydrating. And I was like, was it right after Oktoberfest? So it's like, just give me a break. Give me a break.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I do think that there is fun ways to track, like you had said. There's a number of different bands that you can like track each water bottle that you have. There's water bottles that have like times associated with them where it's like you should be quarter of the way done by 10 a.m. or then you should be halfway at noon and kind of working your way through that. What I've had some of my nutrition clients do is if they're struggling, one, there's apps that you can like water plants or like water. I think one of them was like watering a llama or something like
Oh,
that.
that's so fun.
But I've even to the extent of like just setting an alarm on my phone of like by 10 a.m. my goal is to have one water bottle down. By 1 p.m. my goal is to have two, and like making it that I get one water bottle every 2 or 3 hours can be helpful. Again, just spacing it out throughout the day. But then when your alarm goes off, it's just like, well, I haven't gotten my water, so I need to like bring awareness to that more than anything. Like I should drink more water right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What I have started doing, well, a couple things I do here. This is the band that Trish was talking about. The band.
We can thank
It doesn't fit my new water bottle, so I actually just bought another one that like sticks here and you can like move a nozzle thing up. So that should come today. But the band is nice because it just kind of helps hold you accountable. And then obviously the vessel, like, and another thing is try different vessels. Like I used to have one that I picked up and drank and I thought I liked that, and now I have a straw and I'm like, that's so much better.
The straws.
It's just way easier. Like, so it's just like try different things. And sometimes you have to switch up your water bottle for that too. But one thing that I've found to help me be really successful is I pair a glass of water with my meals. So every time I eat a meal, I'm drinking also a 10 to 12 ounce glass of water. Because then no matter what, I'm getting 36 ounces because I'm drinking one of my meals. So that's been super helpful as well as like drinking a glass of water before coffee. And those types of things are kind of what I do. Okay, let's move on to get outside. Why is this important?
Well, you guys
Want
start.
me to start? I just think that we take sunshine for granted sometimes. And I think it's one of the most important things to, I would say, like prevent sickness because it's just like you're getting vitamins from being outside. And I would even argue like getting into the mountains out of the bad air in Salt Lake. And so it's just like taking advantage of doing things outside. I think that we're pretty blessed in where we are, where we live in Salt Lake, to do, there's a lot of activities to do outside year round. And I think it's just for, I guess, for my own self, is like my mental health. I always feel so much better going outside. And it's kind of one of those things where, what do you think? You want to go outside too. Where it's like if I'm cooped up inside for too long, I get a little stir crazy, and I always just feel better mentally being outside.
Love it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a similar thing. Like, who here in the gym doesn't love when it's time that we can open up the garage doors and just have a little bit of fresh air and just a little bit of change of like scenery from your typical environment, right? When you're at home or in the office, that often can be, home shouldn't be that, hopefully isn't this, but in your office space probably is a stress inducing environment, right? Like, just because it is where you are so focused on work and other things that probably don't bring you a lot of calming effects, right? So just getting outside of that a little bit throughout the day is going to reduce that stress and allow you to just like take a deep breath and a pause away from what you're doing, like what at least causes me stress in the day, right?
Right.
I mean,
You're the get outside.
I know, but I wanted them to go first so they could. I have all the same things to talk about. It's like get some of that sunshine, get some of that fresh air, right? One thing I have some me and Emily have some friends that live in Germany, and they actually their houses are designed so they can actually like open up windows in a way that allows them to recirculate outside air into their house, right? So we try to do that every once in a while, where you if we're especially in the winter months where we're cooped up and we have everything closed off, it's like open up those windows, open up those doors, get some of that fresh air into your house, kind of replace some of that what's already in there. Those types of things can really help you stay healthy, eliminate some germs and things like that. I know the air in Salt Lake can get a little sometimes, especially with that high pressure system rolling in, but we have such an opportunity to be outside here in the state that it's like you should take advantage of it and get some of that sunshine, get some of that fresh air, take your shoes off, walk on the ground, be grounded. Those types of things are very beneficial for you. Which, yeah, especially if like for somebody who travels a lot, like going when you travel different time zones, go outside, take your shoes off, walk around a little bit outside, get adjusted to your environment. It can be very helpful for you, especially with like jet lag and things like that. So, then like Chuck, you look at Chuck, and taking naps outside be even better for him.
Yeah.
It's good for
It was
his
like,
his room. Yeah.
and I would even, I mean, I don't know if you guys had touched on this, but like building your immune system. That was one of the things that once I had Chuck, we were planning on flying in an airplane like 2 months after he was born. And I was so worried about being stuck in an airplane and like being sick. And our midwives were pretty much like, if you spend at least 15 minutes outside every day, you and Chuck are going to build up your immune system because you are getting vitamin D. And so I feel like that has, I mean, I always knew that being outside, like, I always felt better, but it's just like, oh, it's actually like building your immune system. So I feel like that's also why when flu season, more people are stuck inside. They're not spending as much time outside. So taking the time, if you can take advantage of, being in the sun specifically, you're just going to feel better overall.
Yeah. One thing that about this one that I like, it is specific to getting outside, but I think it also really promotes like a lifestyle change of like more like start taking like some work breaks and some stress breaks and go outside and try something new, go for a walk. Like it just adds in a different element to your lifestyle, I think, rather than just being like, get outside, it's because of the sun, vitamin D, woohoo. It's like, no, like, let's just add this in so that we can have different parts of our day rather than sitting at our desk all day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, and Garrett does a really good job of this. Most of us are in here doing CrossFit to be better and more functional outside of the gym. So, like, take advantage of that, get outside, especially you had alluded to this, like, Utah has a lot to offer. So, if that's going on a hike, just getting out in some of the water around, like, do it in a way that, like, you are using your fitness and all of that you're building in here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I realized is when I'm like stuck in the house all day or inside all day, and then I make a conscious decision to go outside, I didn't realize how stuffy I felt inside until I'm outside and I'm like, whoa, like it just feels so much bigger, and like it just feels more, just feels better, honestly, than being inside all day. So sometimes you don't even realize it until you do go outside.
Truly.
Yeah, I'm never not unhappy outside.
Right?
Not-
Yeah.
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 I'm outside. I'm like, ugh. But I will say, like, if you're in that sun, get some sunscreen. That sun's pretty bad for you. Let's go. SPF 15. Let's go. Rub that on. Protect that skin.
I've also heard, and I am not going to like say this as a fact because I'm not 100% sure, but even when the sun is not out, the UV rays are still there and you're still getting those vitamins. So like even if the sun isn't out, do your best to get outside, bundle up. Like we've got the resources. We live in Utah. We've got the things we need. So bundle up and still like get outside. And that's another thing is like it can promote more activity, right? Because like you said, there's a lot of fun things to do outside, skiing, even just going for a walk, taking your dogs to the park, like so there's lots of things you can do. So what are some tips and tricks that get you guys outside more?
You started to say it. Get a dog.
You would think that helps.
Doesn't that take Kurt
it's
outside
not
more
great.
than you, though?
Well, no, I have to walk Kurt.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would say for me, the one thing I always try to touch on, because I mean, most people in here, they're working in some type of office environment for the most part. I'd say park far away. Park the furthest
I love
way,
that.
so you have to walk across whatever parking lot you have to. That gets you at least maybe a few minutes, right? And then the few minutes getting back to your car. Take your lunch outside, take a meeting outside, maybe just take 10 minutes to sit outside in peace by yourself. Like that, those areas can be really good. Weekends, I mean, you have potentially have plenty of time to be outside, either with your kids or with your dog or with your significant other, whoever that may be. Take a 30-minute walk around your block. Like that's so good for you. It's Emily and I do that every now and again, and usually by the time I get back to my house, I feel really good. So
I'm going to steal this one from Megan that has inspired me that I haven't implemented yet, but I want to. So if you are somebody that's busy with an office job all day and then you have kids, like your life is a lot. She has started to make it a goal that every day she's going to figure out which meeting she can take from her phone on a walk. Right? She's like, I have at least one every day that I can take on a walk. So like if you have that luxury, like try, or like whatever your schedule is, try and find something within your work life that like allows for that. If it is your lunch break, right? That might be it. If it's a call that you can take, et cetera, that you can take outside.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Who's her coach?
Just kidding. I know who's your nutrition coach.
Oh my gosh, she's awesome. Just kidding. That is really cool. Do you have anything?
I mean, I feel like you guys pretty much covered it, and I think that just whenever you can, really, whether that's in the morning, during your lunch break, or after work, or something that I've done is like after my workout here, like go on a walk like immediately afterwards, as like a cool down. That's just gonna earn you a little bit more outside time too.
I love that. Yeah.
stretching outside's good too.
Mhm.
Stretching is also good for you.
Yeah.
But also, outside even better. 2 for 1.
Some things that I've done in the past, I've been really bad this year, and I'm feeling motivated right now. I'm like, let's go outside after this.
I'm
But
gonna do this outside.
I know. Prioritizing taking my dog on a walk.
Yeah.
Like, I have a dog that is, like, he doesn't need to be walked because he's a little bit, I mean, he's getting old, but he loves it. He loves the park. He loves walking. So it's like, he's okay without it. It's not like he gets like hyperactive or whatever, but I know he is happier and he's better when he's walked. So, or goes to the park. So prioritizing that has helped. Also, taking meals outside is helpful. And I'll be guilty as charged. It's really hard when it's cold outside.
Yeah.
But I also think we've been blessed with like a kind of a warm winter. Maybe not
Speak
blessed.
for yourself.
Yeah,
Garrett's outside less.
Yeah,
because-
a decently warm winter, where like just sitting out there really isn't the worst thing ever. And I know that I feel my best if I'm outside and I'm walking. Like I feel like a walk outside has always made me feel really good. I also love to like if I have a morning, having coffee and reading outside in the morning is another really great way to do that, and having a good setup for that. Like, do you have a hammock? Do you have a nice chair that you like? Even like go as far as, do you got a space heater? Like that's
Mm.
something you could have outside too in the winter times. So those are just some other ways to get you outside. Yeah. Any other thoughts, or are we feeling good on that?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to prioritize sleep.
Mm.
My favorite thing in the world. Why is this important?
I would say for me, a lot of your recovery happens while you're sleeping. That gives your time where your body relaxes. It goes into that what's that parasympathetic state to allow you to like calm down and like start doing the repair work you need to. Everything slows down, and it's tough to get there. At least for me, it's not the easiest, but it's very very important. I know when I'm not sleeping right, my day is shot after that. So it's tough, unfortunately. So, but.
Throughout the day, like you are quite literally breaking your body down, right? In the gym, you're technically like getting weaker as you're using your brain, you're fatiguing yourself, right, throughout the day. And it is really during that sleep period and eating appropriately and all that, but that sleep period that your body is repairing itself to get set up for success for the following day. And if you get too far behind on that, you're really not going to make that up in a meaningful way. You're just kind of like losing those days
Mm-hmm.
of productivity, right? So the more that you can get in the habit and in a routine of getting adequate quality sleep, like the better you are going to feel, because your body has, it's like charging your phone battery at night. You would never not charge it at night because it needs that to function the next day. It's the same thing with your sleep.
Love that.
Yeah, and just to add to like the recovery portion of that, so especially if you have the goals of like building muscle, losing body fat percentage, losing weight, a big part of that is your sleep. And if you, especially if you're like a high stress person and you're not able to decompress while sleeping, you're never really recovering from that. So I think that that's where a lot of people might struggle with weight loss or muscle gain, is that they're not prioritizing their sleep and they're so focused on other things, where it's just like if they focus on their sleep, they might see a little bit more or better progress towards those types of goals.
Absolutely. I was actually talking to someone today, and again, I don't know if this is factual, but it's like we are really like one of the only animals that doesn't sleep like all day, right? Like, and I could be wrong.
No, I was gonna say I think most animals like eat and sleep.
Right. Eat and sleep all day. To be
I
fair,
can account for that. My cat sleeps for like
yeah.
23 hours a day.
To be fair, that is like kind of like that is how they live. They don't have the same brain function as we do, in that same way. Um, but I'm like, obviously, we probably could use some more sleep. Um, just due to like that fact alone. I don't think we need, like, my dog sleeps probably, I mean, 20 hours a week. And if I'm at home and he's not sleeping, he is tired. He is exhausted by the end of the night, even if we don't do anything. Um, so like I think everyone could really use more sleep in their life. And I've also heard a lot of people be like, oh, when I sleep a lot, I'm more tired. But that also could be a buildup of the bad sleep you've had before. I've also seen things that's like, really, you don't feel your sleep till 2 days later, or something like with along that lines. So like try getting consistently good sleep and see if you're still tired, right? Any other thoughts on anything with that?
Just on that note, um, you might be tired for other reasons, and it doesn't mean you're sleeping too much. Like,
Absolutely.
you might be like, oh, I keep sleeping so much and I still am tired. Like, you might not be eating appropriately. You might have too many stressors. It doesn't mean that you should be sleeping less. Um, and it's like one of those things where I have this all the time where it's like when you're really, really stressed and your body isn't relaxing, you don't get sick. And then as soon as you hit a deadline or something and your body relaxes, then you get sick. There's like, I can't
Yes.
remember the exact science behind that, but there is science behind that around your body like finally letting itself recover and address the virus or the bacteria that's in your body and take over. And it could possibly be a similar thing with you feeling so fatigued that your body is like, yeah, I'm shutting down right now
Mm-hmm.
because of all these X, Y, and Z other things. And like, you need to keep giving me sleep.
Mhm.
and there's a possibility that you may need to address nutrition issues or other stressors, etc. So
Right.
just on your note of like, I slept, you know, 8 hours for a whole week and I feel worse, that doesn't mean that you going from 6 to 8 hours of sleep was
The problem.
the problem.
Right. Absolutely. And like a lot of people, like with that stress thing, that reminds me of like CrossFit competitions. Usually after a weekend of CrossFit competitions, I get a little sniffly
Mhm.
because it's like you've put your body through so much stress. And like, so yeah, that totally makes sense. The second it's lifted off of you, your body's like, we hate you.
Mhm.
I can remember even after when I was racing cyclocross, I'd be driving home from a race and I was like, "Oh my God, am I getting sick right now?" Like
Mhm.
I
For
was
sure.
just depleted.
Mm-hmm.
What Samantha was saying about fatigue, we should also remember like you may not be physically fatigued, you may be mentally fatigued, and both of those things play a factor in like going to sleep and getting that proper sleep to help you lower those stress levels, allow your body to recover both mentally and physically. Because like some people, it's like they might not have a physically demanding job, but they might have a very mentally demanding job, and by the end, they're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And you need that proper sleep to help you decompress and get to recover from that type of stuff. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I want to move into quality and quantity
Mhm.
and why those are important, and how that affects your sleep.
I would say quality is very important, right? So the quality of sleep you have, you need to make sure you have that right environment that you're sleeping in. It's a dark, cooler environment, no screens, those types of things to help promote that good, deep REM sleep, right? That's what you need. You need that good, deep REM. Hopefully 8 hours a day. I feel like that kind of varies for everybody. I feel like for me, I actually run pretty good off of 6 hours. After 6 hours, like I have a trouble time like staying asleep in my bed. And then if I try to force myself to sleep again, I kind of get in a weird rhythm. And then I wake up, I'm like, wow, that wasn't good. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm the complete opposite. If
yeah,
I get 6 hours, I'm useless.
mm,
So I think it totally depends.
yeah,
Well, this is newer research, but there's some newer studies that I don't think have been replicated, but that are coming out that saying that women need more sleep than men.
Mm.
So a lot of our old prescriptions of sleep were only done with men, and now there's some evidence that's starting to come out saying that women need more sleep than men.
Very cool.
That makes sense. I'm like, it's way more grouchy than I do. She
Yeah.
doesn't get enough sleep.
I was just gonna say, so Garrett was kind of alluding to this, but we have sleep cycles that our body goes through, and if you are disrupting your sleep cycle, you're not getting all aspects of your recovery. Like there's very specific focuses for each of your 4 phases of sleep in your sleep cycle, which takes about 90-ish minutes. And your body kind of regulates that sleep cycle based off of what recovery you need more of. So if you are in a sleep environment that doesn't allow you to go through your full sleep cycle multiple times a night, then you're missing out on parts of recovery, because some of it is going to be physical recovery, some of it is going to be mental recovery, right? Like that REM sleep is your mental recovery. And if you're not hitting all of those, it could be because you're having disruptive sleep, which, little side note, alcohol disrupts your sleep cycle, right? Like there's different nutrition things that can disrupt your sleep cycle. And if you're not hitting all of those, then your body isn't adequately recovering holistically. So that quality piece there is really important.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to say on sleep?
Yeah, I would just say that getting ready or doing what you can to get ready for bed, so like having an evening routine. I feel like it's pretty often that you lay down and all of your thoughts just like come right to your brain. So doing what you can to let those thoughts out, whether that's, a meditation or um writing those thoughts down or whatever that might be, because I think that that's what can also keep you up at night. And that's just going to provide a better evening sleep is w- doing a wind down versus hopping in bed, listening to the TV and falling asleep to the TV. It's just like all those things should be off, to help you wind down to have the best type of sleep, and less of like trying to get 10 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep or whatever that might be. I think if you can get a better quality of sleep versus a quantity is just as important.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that too because a lot of times people are like, oh, I sleep 8 hours, but they're up every 2 hours. They get like 30 minutes of deep sleep or whatever that looks like. So, yeah, maybe you're in bed a long time. That doesn't necessarily mean your quality of sleep is as good, right? But it's also harder to it's harder to control your quality than it is your quantity, right? Because you could have like some set bedtimes and some set wake times, whereas quality is a little bit harder to control.
To touch on what both of them said is our bodies they have a sleep rhythm to them, right? And to be able to, they kind of get used to those routines that we do. So the better routine that you can establish, the better quality of sleep you're probably going to get.
Absolutely.
It's like try to get to bed, just even if you're not even tired, just lay down 9 o'clock or whatever it is to get that 8 hours that you're going to try to get, right? Like just force yourself to go to sleep. Like you can just lay there. That's fine. Your body will naturally start to get into that cycle, which is very beneficial for you. So,
Well, and Trish was kind of talking about this, but it's there's a reason that parents have a bedtime routine with their kids, right? And not that you should treat yourself like a child, but I do. Like I plug my phone in, I set my alarm, I set it to the side, I read a book, right? Like as if I were getting read to like I was a child. Like that, like find something that helps you like wind down and decompress from the day so that like you know that when those your body knows, not you, your body knows when those things happen, that like you are about to lay down and settle down, right?
Absolutely.
That's why we do that with kids is like their body, it's like, okay, now I'm starting to settle down, like we're quiet timing, we are relaxing. You can use those same techniques for yourself.
Yeah. And I want to touch on that too. She was like, I'm not saying treat yourself like a child, but also do. But like, why do you do that with your children? Because you know it's better for them. You want them to have a sleep routine so they're not up all night, right? So why would you not do that for yourself as well, right? So you should treat yourself like you treat your children.
We could go over Chuck's evening routine if you want to. And I would even just say like what you're doing leading. I would maybe even in the afternoon, like what you're doing leading up to evening time. One of my practices is like I don't have caffeine. Like if I'm gonna have more caffeine in the morning, like 1 o'clock is my cutoff time. Like I don't drink any more caffeine after 1 o'clock because sometimes it takes 8 or more hours for caffeine to be metabolized in your body. And I've heard people say, I could have a shot of espresso and go right to bed. It's like you might be able to go to sleep, but your body isn't fully like going into deep sleep with caffeine in your system. And even adding to what Samantha said, like alcohol disrupts your sleep. And so if you have substances like that, the the quality of sleep is going to be pretty poor, and even to the extent of like maybe certain foods are not sitting well with your body going to sleep. If that's maybe you don't do well with higher like having carbs for dinner, like that might keep you up a little bit later. So prioritizing your like what type of foods that you're eating and maybe cutting back your snacking before bed. And I don't know if that's to the extent of like not eating an hour or 2 hours before going to bed, I think could also be helpful if you're trying to come up with an evening routine.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's get into that. What are some tips and tricks you guys do to help you get to sleep? No, that was the perfect lead in. So what are some tips and tricks you guys do personally to help your sleep?
I would say for me, one thing I wish I was better at is no screens an hour before bed, no blue light. So no phone, no TV, no computer. Trying to limit that light as much as possible. Emily loves watching TV in bed, and I refuse to let her do that. I'm just like, no, take that thing out of our bedroom if we could, but we like watch it in the morning sometimes. So. But like that I know is especially with our culture now is like blue light is everywhere and it's can be very damaging to your ability to start that rhythm to go to bed. So trying to maintain a screen free at least like an hour leading up to bed can really help you start to get into that cycle.
Love that.
I have a whole nighttime routine because I really struggle to sleep. So I like wash my face. I take my contacts out. I put my glasses in. I have like a little hot cocoa beverage that I do, the Beam. But if you like tea,
Gamer?
I do Beam. I don't even know if the Beam itself helps. I think it's more just the routine.
Routine.
Yeah, but like do a little tea, whatever, a little hot beverage. And then I set my alarm. I put my phone aside, and this is all I need you to understand. This is like at 8 to 8:30 p.m. that this part has started. My bedtime routine is like an hour to an hour and a half, if you all inclusive. So I like do all of that. I set my phone aside, I set my alarm, and then I turn off my main light. I have like a little reading light that's like not as bright. And then I read and I drink my little hot beverage for about a half hour. And then I brush my teeth, eye mask comes on, lights go out, and then I go to bed. And there's no more phone, there's no more nothing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, my evening routine is a little off with the baby. But
Pre-baby.
Chuck,
Let's talk pre-baby.
it's like pre-baby.
I want to talk
Chuck,
both.
I was like, Chuck has a great evening routine. But I think things that help me, is I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb at 7 o'clock. So it's just like I don't get text messages or anything like that. Or at least I don't see the notification for that. And then I do my best not to have screens in the evening. Football season is tough at our house. And I try and minimize snack time. And so it's just like once we have dinner, it's kind of done with snacks. And then brushing my teeth, I feel like is like sets the tone of like I'm cleaning my body, I'm getting ready. And then I do we call them an eye mask.
Eyebrow.
And then I use a nasal strip every single night. And so I feel like that just helps me breathe better,
Mhm.
and helps for quality of sleep as
Mhm.
well.
Awesome.
One thing I just want to say is like these routines take a long time for your body to get used to and be effective. So like even though that is my standard routine, if I get out of it even for one vacation, it still takes me 2 to 3 weeks of doing it consistently again for me to like feel the effects of being able to fall asleep better again. So try stuff, but also don't like do it for 3 days and be like, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna take a long time, and it's never gonna be perfect. Like if you are more stressed or you're having a hard time like relaxing, it doesn't matter what you do, like that's just the reality of life.
For
So
sure.
I don't want anybody to try any of these things and be like, those were stupid pieces of advice, it didn't work. Like and be willing to try other things, but also you have to commit to it for a decent amount of time, which is frustrating, right? Because it can take like upwards of a month of a routine before you notice any impact. But y- you hopefully will have signs earlier on where it's like, okay, I am relaxing a little bit better, even if I'm not falling asleep right away, like I am able to relax. And if you get that feeling, like you're probably on the right track.
Yeah.
And I would even say just like starting with one thing. I mean,
Totally.
it sounds like Samantha has been working on this routine for
I
some
really
time now.
struggle sleeping, so
So I think that like just picking one thing, and if if I had to choose something to recommend to people, is like limiting the screen. And whether that's, turning off the TV, or turning your phone on Do Not Disturb, or like not scrolling in bed. I feel like that's like one of my
Is that
big
Emily?
rules. I feel like that's one of my big rules, is like I can scroll somewhere else, but as soon as I'm in bed, like I don't get on my phone. And so I think that coming up with certain boundaries for yourself, and realistic boundaries, right? It's just like I think if you're going to scroll, like set a timer for 5 minutes or whatever that's going to be. Um, just to give yourself a starting point of like what your individual routine is going to be. And maybe not everybody has the time to do a long routine before bed.
Mhm.
And so it's just like just starting with something, even if that's like tea and turning your phone off,
Yeah.
whatever that might be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were kind of saying this, but this is another one I've heard people do is the only thing they do in their bed is sleep. Like,
I was gonna say that one.
yeah,
That's a
so
great one.
like Trish was kind of saying that like if you're going to scroll, like do it on the couch, right? So it's like when you go and lay in bed, that is you are going to sleep, right? And that helps your body like realize that as well.
Like that is where you sleep. Like
Yes.
that's where you wind down. Yeah. And I realized that I really enjoy reading to wind down. Like if I don't read before I wind down, I definitely am up a little bit later and have a harder time sleeping. So reading to wind down is pretty much the main thing that I've said that really works for me. There's a lot of other things I do too to wind myself down, but that's my number one thing is like, okay, I'm gonna read before bed because it really winds me down. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about on these topics?
I feel like just adding to the sleep is like investing in good bed things. Like having a good quality mattress, having sheets that you like, having a pillow that you like. Because you're spending so much time in your bed. Like if you think about the amount of time that you are there, it's just like you should buy good quality things, whether that's, pillow, sheets, or mattress. So invest in bed stuff.
I love that.
Be comfortable.
Be comfortable.
Yes.
And it's probably not onesies because they're too hot.
Yeah.
So
You guys like
And
the
I'm never gonna sleep in. I never sleep in.
I would never sleep in
I would
this.
sleep just in this on the floor probably.
But it was worth it for the bit.
I would say to Trisha's point, the other thing you could do is make sure you can make your room as dark as possible.
Oh yeah.
If you have a lot of windows, hopefully you have at least one window in your room, code. But make it dark.
Is that the code?
You need to
Yes.
have two egresses, door and window.
Okay.
be able to go out.
If you don't have a window, I'd be worried. But make sure it's dark. Like get some good shades that allow the sun to not come in or any exterior light to come in. Like we have a light on our back deck that kind of comes into our. We haven't fixed it yet, but it is what it is. But and then just try to make it a little cooler as well. Like run your house down just a few degrees. It doesn't have to be like frigid. I mean, you could take it down cooler. The cooler probably the better. Might make it harder to get out of bed, but it will help improve that quality of sleep that you can get. I would say the other thing we didn't touch on about with the water is if you're drinking enough water, you might also be eating less because that can also help fill you up and fill you a little bit more satiated as well. So,
Absolutely.
for those of you who are trying to maybe lose a little bit and not eat as much as you would be, taking in that water will allow you to feel a little bit more satiated, can help flush out some of that excess sodium that you're maybe taking in, which also helps you feel less bloated and things like that. So it's another additive that I just remembered. So
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you guys. And last but not least, drink water, get outside, and prioritize sleep. Thank you guys. See you next week on another episode of Message of the Week.
woo!